All right, ladies and gentlemen of the old world, we're back in business once again with a community showdown between the Wood Elves, who shall be led by Zach P. Sane and Mel Gibson. And today, my friends, he faces off against the Flying Taco, who shall be leading the forces of the Tomb Kings, and I believe it's Cetera the Imperishable. Yes, it is, on his mighty Sphinx. So it's been quite some time since we've seen Mel Gibson, and for anyone who's new to the channel, Orion is who I call Mel Gibson. The reason I do is just take a look at his face. Tell me that doesn't look like Mel Gibson. It 100% does. Now, as far as this Wood Elf army goes, front line is going to be Dryads. Dryads are cool here. They have good enough combat stats to go fisticuffs with pretty much any Tomb King's infantry. They have high DPS against light armor, so skeleton warriors, skeleton spears. They probably would lose head-to-head against like Tomb Guard, just because Tomb Guard have like really powerful stats. But even still, the Dryads from a cost perspective would still trade efficiently in those situations. So I do like the front line of Dryads here. On top of that, what else do we got? We got a couple Wild Riders, one of which is going to be the Wild Hunters of Kurnus, Mel Gibson's personal guard here. And these guys, of course, do have anti-large, and magic damage can be pertinent in a couple situations. A lot of times, the Tomb Kings do use the Foz protection, not Foz protection, but Narrows protection, or Incantation of Protection, something like that, to give a pretty fat physical resist. So the magic damage can be really nice there. Aside from that, it's going to be a back line of the Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts. Those guys definitely going to be taking a huge beating from these Screaming Skull Catapults, but we'll see how they endure this. Yeah, Starfire Shafts, of course, fire damage, AP, can't complain. In the back, we got a couple Eternal Guard, and that is it. So pretty narrow army. It looks like there's going to be a Branch Wraith with pretty much the standard kit of Earthblood, Pendulum, and Melkoths. So for the forces of the Flying Taco, Skeleton Horseman Archers for a little bit of a poke and stroke, some light skirmishing, definitely not bad. They're very cheap, and they can shoot at things like Wild Riders and get some free damage in there. Granted, of course, Wood Elf Skirmishers will outclass them, but typically you don't see Glade Riders in this matchup, so they should be relatively safe. Front line's going to be just chaff, skeletons, spears. It looks like there are some Tomb Guard actually, so we do have Tomb Guard here and Skeleton Warriors. So yeah, just some Tomb Guard kind of mixed into the battle lines here of the Tomb Kings. And the main core of the build really is going to be triple Screaming Skull Catapult, which isn't bad for sure. I mean, the counter to artillery play, Wood Elves often bring the Waystalkers who have the Arrow of Kurnus, but against like triple Screaming Skull Catapult, they're so cheap, and even if you're picking off models, I don't feel like it's going to be super destructive. So pretty cool stuff. Cetera the Imperishable, who shopped your Great Bow for some stopping power, and that is it. So let's see how this battle unfolds, guys. I have no predictions. Certainly some wild stuff on both sides. We have triple Catapult, and we do also have Orion. Granted, I think the Catapult's probably a little bit more meta. I have seen them before, but again, Flying Taco, if you are watching this, do let us know if you've had success with the Catapults. Oftentimes, I'll see Caskets and or Catapults in this matchup just to kind of pressure the archers. So the Hounds of Mel Gibson being used in the back, not Hounds, but the Hawk's Talon, which is one of his bound abilities. A lot of people don't know Orion has 2 free bound abilities, which are quite good, and it is able to actually pick off one of the Screaming Skull Catapult models. That's really solid. I'm curious to see if his other ability would do the same thing, the Hounds of Orion, which is kind of like Gehenna's Golden Hounds. Anyways, it looks like he's throwing spears, taking a ton of Ushopti Great Bow fire, really getting wrecked pretty bad here, but we'll see if he's able to endure and come back from that. In the meantime, Tomb Guard are fighting against the Dryads and doing very well for themselves, but there's a Branch Wraith here as well, and it looks like the Wild Hunters of Kurnus going to be hammering in and should do pretty good damage here. These guys do have 50 armor, and there's still great shock damage on the Wild Hunters of Kurnus with the charge bonus of 67 and over 40 weapon strength. But again, it seems like the Dryads are struggling a little bit in the front line. I mean, obviously in a vacuum they would win, but it seems like Cetera and some of the Catapults have, of course, worn down the Dryads on the advance. So it's going to be a little bit of a tricky fight there. In the meantime, the Glade Guards actually are able to get in range of the Chosen of the Gods here. Really nice usage of the Incantation of Protection to protect those guys, but the Elvish Archer is doing some good damage. Whenever I hear Elvish Archer, it reminds me of Magic the Gathering, one of the most OG cards of all time. Really nice Pendulum from the Branch right there. He was able to finish off some of those Tomb King's infantry. Now, Cetera, though, going to be diving pretty deep into these back lines, and he does have the support of some of these horsemen, which I believe are Nehekara horsemen. Yeah, it looks like Nehekara horsemen. The Winterheart Guard are going to be pushing in. The Horn of the Wild Hunt is sounded by Orion, and the Wild Riders, of course, are doing a very good job cleaning up the back line. And oh, this is actually kind of scary here for the Taco Man. Bit of a big seam into the back line. He does have 1 unit of horsemen to protect it, but if they are buckled, this whole back line could potentially be compromised. But man, those Screaming Skull Catapults really raining some hot fire, and you can see Flying Taco is pulling ahead in the battle as he is able to really shut down many of these archer units. Now Skeletons are on top of Glade Guard, and it looks like Hawk's Talon ability is going to be going down from Orion. Yes, it looks like it. And yeah, it's basically like Searing Doom from Balthazar Gelt. It actually seems to do a little bit, or Lord Metal, but it seems to do a little bit less damage here, but nonetheless, we'll see how it unfolds. So Catapult's all still functional. Ushopti Great Bow shooting very happily, and Chosen of the Gods are exceptional at killing cav units. If they shoot at Wild Riders, if they shoot at a bunch of spears, they're not as good in my experience against single targets because they do have that spray fire mode, but nonetheless, Chosen of the Gods are exceptional at pounding down cav units. So Flying Taco can just methodically make sure to pick off these cav units as they come back and maintain his artillery lines to just pound what's left of the Wood Elf cav. maybe he'll be okay. It's hard to say. Wardens of Sith are on the far side, of course, the elite of the elite here. I did miss these guys, of course, tearing apart these skeleton spearmen. They could be a problem, if all the catapults and things like that do run out of ammo and, these guys are still alive with Mel Gibson running around. It could be something. And in the meantime, you can see Orion actually was able to get some really, really big damage on Cetra the Imperishable. So I did miss that. But what's really cool about Orion is, number one, he's unbreakable. And number two, if he gets very low, below a certain threshold, he gets a 44% ward save, almost 50%. And he does also heal himself. So he's deceivingly difficult to actually kill once he does get low. And he still is, an anti-large, armor-piercing beast. Look at that, charge bonus of 70, 500 plus weapon strength, and as a matter of fact, Orion throwing his spear at Cetra the Imperishable, who appears to be coming in for a charge. Let's see, maybe Orion's in guard mode throwing the spear. I think that's what's happening. Here it comes, HP, and looks like that bounced off Cetra and maybe did like 200 damage or something. Very, very strange stuff indeed, but yeah, it's looking really, really grim here for the Wood Elves, guys. A lot of the skirmishers are still alive, all the catapults are pounding away, this Branch Wraith is definitely in some trouble as well, but here comes Orion, the Foe Seeker active, give him a little bit of vigor. He's winded. Yeah, you know what? Cetra might actually die here with the Wild Hunters of Karnus and these Wild Riders, and Orion just hot on his tail. Orion does have 66 speed compared to I don't know what my brain's thinking. Cetra's 68, but again, that's largely dependent on the Foe Seeker here. Horn of the Wild Hunt going down as well, but I think that Mel Gibson might be able to actually finish off Cetra. Is there going to be another shank? Negative 21. He is crumbling now, running for the hills. But Orion is the true consummate hunter here. He's going to be throwing his spear. Oh, 478. He's still crumbling down. Oh my god, is Orion going to be able to finish him off with a spear? Oh, does he throw it? It's so hard to tell when he throws those. 342. Looks like he was maybe staggered by some of this bow fire. I think Cetra might just crumble down at this point. Yeah. Looks like he caught a spear right there, and down goes Cetra. So it looks like Mel Gibson was able to claim his prey. So Orion could be a massive pain to finish here. Something that's very, very good, though, for the Tomb Kings is the fact that there's a ton of skeleton spears, which will be quite exceptional. Orion isn't the best crowd-clearing lord as it pertains to his combat, but with his free abilities, he can usually do a pretty good job with the Hounds of Orion as well as the Hawk's Talon. And oh my god, 766. These guys are running out of archers, and look at this. Flying Taco is having to shoot the catapults at him. Oh my god, what a meme. Look at him just charging like an absolute alpha here. Yeah, he's at 650 right now. But the Branch Wraith is still here. We have the Wardens of Sithro who are unbreakable. It looks like some archers have rallied. Could this be a... No way. See, I haven't watched this replay yet. Could this actually be a comeback from the Wood Elves? I don't know. I'm starting to believe in Mel Gibson. He is healing himself. And he's got plenty of room before his healing cap. There's still a Branch Wraith. And, like, Tomb Kings don't have that much, like, power in melee. If we really look around, I'm looking around the map. I don't really see anything. I'm squinting to make sure I don't miss. But, yeah, like, if the spears go, then, like, I don't know if any of this Tomb King stuff can kill Mel Gibson. I mean, the Screaming Skull catapults obviously aren't very good against single targets. They're catapults, and they are relatively limp as is. They do only have 178 strength there. And the discouraging effect, Orion cares not for such abilities. And look at the balance of power kind of ebb and flow. It's funny because the Wood Elves might actually get army losses here because the catapults do carry a certain weight in the balance of power, but ironically, they're terrible against Orion, right? There's that classic saying in the, well, I guess in any situation, right? Like, more specifically in Total War. Oh my god, and the Hounds of Orion tearing through these guys, going into the skeleton spears, and they're crumbling. But, if you have a really difficult general to kill, it's like kill the army, rout the general. But in this case, you can't rout the general. Even though the army was killed, Orion is still here. He's still thick, he's still proud, and he's up to 1,000 HP right now. Looks like maybe the Branch Wraith was able to get a heal off, and in the meantime, Flying Taco doing a great job with his Screaming Skull catapults, making sure nothing comes back. Do we still have some Winterheart Guard? It looks like it, yeah. A mighty 9 charge bonus after the Horn of the Wild Hunt, but yeah, those 8 Winterheart Guard trying to finish off those skeleton archers there, which is hilarious. But Orion is out healing more or less the DPS he's taking here. You can see his HP. He is a large entity, so he is going to be taking the anti-large there from those skeleton spearmen. I'm looking around. I don't know, guys. This could be a wild comeback. Branch Wraith's still going strong, and Branch Wraiths aren't terrible in combat. Let's see, yeah. 47, 35, 330. Charge bonus of 32, which is actually pretty high for kind of a foot character like this. But yeah, Orion's still doing his thing, man. He's back up to 1,000 HP, so that healing from the Cloak of Aisha is quite insane. And on top of that, like I said, we'll zoom in and give you guys a look at this item here. It does also give him, yes, 44% ward save, so he's only taking, more or less half damage here from these spears, which already hit like wet noodles, so what a beast. And I don't know what the cooldowns are on his abilities. Like, I can't remember. He doesn't get played super often, so I don't remember if he has infinite charges of his abilities on a melee recharge, but yeah, nonetheless, I mean, those could still be a factor as this game does progress. Catapults here able to finish off the last of the Wood Elf infantry over there. The Winterheart Guard are gone, so all the Wood Elves really have at this point are their single entities. They have a Branch Wraith, they have Orion, but Orion, still actually has ammunition on his spear too. So if, like, things try and kite him and run from him, he can actually like throw his spear, and look at those hooves just powering across the battlefield. And this is a good play. If you know, Zach B. Sane is able to go over here and save these archers, or not archers, but save his branch wraith, excuse me. My brain's just so out of it this cast. But nonetheless, it's been a fun one. Let's enjoy it together. That would be insane. And yeah, you can see these guys are actually getting ready to crumble as well. Yeah, negative 14 leadership just from the mere presence of Mel. And the branch wraith, I mean, as long as army losses don't hit, that branch wraith should be able to hold for a long time against skeleton archers with their 16 melee attack. And this is actually really, really bad for the Tomb Kings. If Orion can come to his love over here and they can unify and fight shoulder to shoulder, oh my god, that's going to be brutal. Oh no, and an Earthblood. Just look at the balance of power just ebbing back towards the middle, man. And those Tomb Kings are forced to fall back. And you can see here he's just lancing down these skeletons in droves. And you know what? That's actually not some bad splash damage, at least from the looks of things. Yeah, he's a monstrous character, you know, so he's able to do some work. And yeah, we'll just fast forward a little bit as he grinds through that. Oh my god, Orion is free from his pen. And now it looks like he's going to be taking some catapult shots. Oh, and Zach B. Sane with the jukes. Dude, I love this. This is one of the best games we've had in so long. The Orion, potential hard carry here. You know, yeah, I think the game's over. Nothing. What can kill Orion here? Nothing, dude. The catapults may count for a lot, but they're not doing anything to him. I mean, okay, there's a hit there. It does about 200 damage, right as I say it. Like, take it back. But he's going to close the distance on this catapult here, take that bad boy out, and yeah. Oh, and now that if the catapults shoot, they're also going to friendly fire. So the Branch Wraith does get the Horn of the Wild Hunt. Orion gets it as well, and you can see this thing's in critical binding, also being friendly fired by its own catapults there. And oh my god, the Wood Elves are pulling ahead in the balance of power as Orion just goes full Super Saiyan here in this game, tearing apart the Screaming Skull catapults, and now going to the last one, leaving the Branch Wraith there, and that is a Wood Elf victory. Oh my god, what an insane comeback! Dude, I have to say, like, halfway through that game, I was like, oh, Flying Taco has this. It's over. 100% over. But I guess when Cetra died, if you really look at that army, there wasn't much left there that had the stopping power to kill something like Mel Gibson. What a crazy, crazy game. Because Taco certainly did very, very, very well in the battle. Like, you saw it was more or less army losses, right? But, you know, it just goes to show, man, sometimes if you have something, you know, like Orion, for example, if you can kill that, which is the only answer to it, you can still win these games that seem insurmountable. But, yeah, it was crazy, man. Big thanks to Zach B. Sane and Taco for sending in this replay. That was a super fun one. And it's always great to see, like, Wood Elves do something different than the very boring Prey of Anathrema Weight Watcher kind of combo, right? It's just so boring to watch off. For me, at least. It's just you see it, and there's like, so one-dimensional. But, yeah, Orion is, dude, what a G he is. What a G. And honestly, you know, the Wood Elves, I'm excited to see. I hope they get the treatment like Greenskins and like all their old lords get some sauced up abilities, dude, because he's such a cool freaking character. Look at that guy. Such a badass. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this Wood Elf vs. Tomb Kings game, and got a lot of good replays, actually. A lot of people have been sending some in. I had some great games versus King of the Dead, so a lot of good stuff on the horizon, my friends. And you guys take care. Cheers.